1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
In learning numbers as composites, we start with the smallest unit, which is 1, and we apply the principle of describing and naming. We show any of the object cards with 1 on and ask, what do you see? Of course, the description is 1. What it's called is also 1. Next, we add another card that is exactly the same, with 1 apple. And we ask again, what do you see? Learners who know that this is 2 will say that they see 2, but learners who are only learning this from the start will probably say that they see 1 and 1, or 1 apple and 1 apple. Once they've described, we tell them the name, and the name of this particular quantity is 2. The learners already then at a young age learn that 1 and 1 is 2, or in other words, 1 and 1 can be called 2. Moving on to the quantity of 3. We now show the learners a 1 card and a 2 card, and we ask, what do you see? As they already know 1 and 2, they should describe what they see as 1 and 2, or 2 and 1. We then teach them that 2 and 1 can also be called 3. This way, children have not just learned to count to 3, but they've learned that 3 is a combination of 1 and 2, or what we would call a composition of 1 and 2. Another way to introduce children to 3 would be to ask them to find you a 2-stick card, and then to ask them to find you a 1-stick card. You could then ask them, what do you see? And they'll say they see 2 and 1, or 1 and 2. You then ask them to find you 1 card that looks the same as these 2 cards. And that card is then called a 3. So 2 and 1 is known as 3, and 3 can be described as 2 and 1. With 3-year-old children, we'll usually stop for a while at 3 and get them to find, for example, the apple cards that match the quantities we lay out. Let's recap. We start at the most basic unit, which is 1. We teach learners that 1 and 1 is called 2. Then we teach them that 2 and 1 is called 3. We've now built up from 1 to 2 to 3 without counting. And in the next video, we'll continue with 4 and 5.